Welcome to another episode of Millennial Investing Explained. Here's today's question. Personal finance is a relatively simple concept to master. It's not easy, but it's simple. Spend less than you earn, save, and invest the difference. Yet, so many people still struggle with getting their finances in order. How does someone's psychology play into managing their personal finances outside of investing?
It's interesting because we all grow up with these money scripts, right? Like money is fights about money, the number one cause of divorce in America. We grow up in these families, many families, most families even, money is a little short. Even in families where money is plentiful, it takes on a whole new complicated dimension around, is this all we're good for? And like, how do I keep my kids from being spoiled? I work with people very often who have a whole lot of money. And you'd think that all the psychology would disappear when you're relatively flush, but in some ways it just compounds because it's like, how do we pass this wealth on to our children without totally spoiling them and ruining them? And so no matter whether you're from a poor family or a wealthy family or anywhere in between, you grew up with these messages around money, and it really is perceived by the broader culture as sort of liquid happiness. A lot of what we strive for in life, to be accepted, to be loved, to have a community, money is seen as a proxy for this or a shortcut to these things. And so I think on the personal finance front, it requires us to get a little bit, psychologically naked. We have to get a little bit honest and self-disclosing and self-reflective about, what does money mean to us? And like, what weird messages did I maybe get from my parents about money? My dad is a financial professional. And so I grew up talking about money at the dinner table, grew up investing from a very young age. My dad hated debt so much that he wouldn't let us say the word debt. I grew up in a very religious household where we weren't allowed to swear, of course, but he said, debt is just another four-letter word. And so when I went to buy a home, a couple of years back, well into my 30s, I didn't have any credit history. And so it actually became problematic for me because I didn't have any credit history to speak of. I'd always paid for everything with cash, didn't have a credit card. It hurt me. And so, it was one of those things where this money script, which was well-meaning and well-intentioned, and there was an element of truth to it, actually came back to bite me a little bit. So, studying, learning about the world, getting outside of those money scripts we grew up with is an important part of personal finance.
That's all for this episode of Millennial Investing Explained. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, or subscribe to our YouTube channel to get even more free content.